Alright, what's up? This is Eon, and I'm going to be running you guys through this degenerate combo on how to skip your opponent's turn. The deck list should be up on the screen right now, but we'll go over it more extensively at the end of the video. The foundation of this deck is based on Red Guy's build currently for Crystal Beasts and Master Duel. All I did was change a few ratios and swap out a few cards for obviously the Tellarknight cards that enable this crazy combo. If you're familiar at all with his combo videos or anything like that, then honestly a lot of it is really similar. I'll just run you through the biggest things you have to look out for if you're trying to skip your opponent's turn. Alright, so in this first replay, we're going to be going over how to do the combo with essentially Golden Rule and Crystal Bond. And this is with, obviously, two hand traps, Crossout and Ash. I don't think I end up having to use them in this match, but if they had Maxi or if they had Ash, then I'm still safe. So this is my most consistent way of doing the combo. It's the way that I remember the biggest. If I have Bond, you'll add Pegasus and place Zenith. If you use Zenith to search for any level 4, it doesn't really matter. And then you'll place a Ruby. From here, you'll go into a Spriggans combo. So Merrymaker, dump Spriggans to Sargus. Sargus, search Tally-Ho, Spriggans, and this is kind of an important part. This is somewhere where you could get messed up if you're not paying enough attention. If you have one of your Spriggan cards in your hand, then you do not activate Merrymaker effect, because you need to have a card in the deck to search to activate Tally-Ho, which means that if you have one in hand and then you send one at Merrymaker, then you have nothing to search with Tally-Ho. You can't activate it. Similarly, if you already have Tally-Ho and you've activated Merrymaker effect, do not activate Sargus. You just straight up activate the Tally-Ho. Because again, if you move the Spriggans from your deck, then you can't do this effect that will let you eventually special 3 cards. Also, say Merrymaker gets ashed and you won't have Rocky and Graveyard and you're just adding Kit. Make sure you only detach 2 materials from Sargas. Basically, if you have any way of getting 4th material on board, then detach 2 materials, special back, Merrymaker and Kit, and then normal summon your 4th material, because we're going to be making Saryuja. But the reason that we're placing Ruby here is so that we can, now with Sargas effect, bounce it back into our hand. I also like to go into Garrus here, which obviously if you don't have 2 level 4s because you got ashed on Merrymaker, then you can't do this, but there's still plenty of other lines past this point. Depends on the spells that you have in your hand. So for now, we'll just continue with this basic combo, Golden Rule Bond. So we get another Pegasus out of deck, and now we can go. And now here we draw 3. If we got lucky and we drew Bridge of the Heart, we don't need it. I will make use of it, but it's not necessary. This is also a good time to shuffle back any bricks that you have, or any Imperm or Gamma that you didn't use. But this is why we can run so many bricks in the deck in a way, is because every Pegasus gets you to Saryuja, and then ideally you can just shuffle back anything that you don't need. Saryuja is crazy for fixing your hand. Right, now here's another pretty important part. We use the Saryuja effect to special Ruby. You have to make sure that you don't special to any of the zones that Saryuja points to. Because Saryuja is a mandatory effect when you special summon a monster underneath it, this will always be Chain Link 1. Ruby will resolve, Pegasus will get summoned, and Saryuja will resolve, and then you'll miss the timing for Pegasus. So just make sure that when you special Ruby, it's not under Saryuja ever. Pegasus obviously can be underneath, it doesn't matter. Just make sure Ruby is never underneath Saryuja. And then from here, I like to go into Zelantis, because this will get our zones completely full once we special everything back. This is another pretty important part. You have to make sure that Ruby is Chain Link 1, and then Pegasus is Chain Link 2, so that you can special summon the monster that you place from Pegasus. Now we're going into the Tellarknight portion. This is another kind of important part. Make sure that you're detaching the non-Sapphire Pegasus material. Doesn't matter which Crystal Beast it is, obviously, as long as it's not Sapphire Pegasus, so that you can have an easy time summoning Rainbow Dragon. You're going to be getting this card, but you won't be using it until the very end. Now I'm just removing cards from the field, getting Ruby and Grave, freeing up the zones on field, so that I can special back Ruby and place the last 2 Crystal Beasts from my deck. Alright, this is another really good example of an easy thing that you can mess up, which I do end up messing up. So I have all of the Crystal Beasts I need out on the field. There's 7 different names, and then I have all of Pegasus in rotation, which I'll explain why we need that later. From here, I'm supposed to summon Topaz Tiger and Amethyst Cat, but instead, I summon Advanced Crystal Beast Ruby and Topaz Tiger, which means that this Amethyst Cat is still stuck down here, which is bad because we need all of the names in the graveyard, which is why we're running Advanced Ruby and not Emerald Tortoise, is because this card is so much easier to get into the graveyard. Because if I did it the right way, then I could just have these, and then I can link them off for Lean, and then I'll have all of the names on field or in the graveyard, the Monster Zone or in the graveyard. I can summon Rainbow Dragon and then go through the rest of the combo. Have Ruby special summon itself because that's what it does, and then just send itself. Because I did this, now Amethyst Cat is stuck down here. And I get saved because I have Bridge of the Heart. Pop it and send it to the grave anyway, but there's a lot of weird little parts where you can get messed up. Sometimes there's issues with like not having enough zones or having many things like down here to activate Golden Rule, so it takes a lot of practice to consistently avoid all of the falls. But from here, we summon our first time going to Overdrive, and then we shuffle the whole field back. And this is another very, very important thing. Make sure that this card is on your field when you're shuffling back. You cannot use this card as link material unless maybe if you're going to Selene and then you use Selene effect to bring it back, but it has to be on the field when you shuffle everything back into the deck. Other than that, it really doesn't matter as long as you don't have any of your Crystal Beasts in the Spell and Trap Zone. They're all in the graveyard, and you have this Teller Knight on field when you shuffle back. However, when you're summoning monsters back now, you have to make sure that you banished at least 5 level 4s. Because now, once we summon back all these level 4s, we're going to use all 5 of them to go into the Teller Knight guy. And then we just rank up from the extra deck into the other one, Constellar, whatever that is. Now you finally use this card to change the rank again back to 4, and now we detach 7 materials to skip the opponent's turn. And now this is why we have to have all of the Pegasus in our grave in our deck into the graveyard, because we have to have 9 Crystal Beasts in total. So if you're running, I'm personally running 2 Ruby, but technically you don't have to have all 3 Pegasus. If you have like 2 Pegasus and 2 Ruby, it's just all of the Pegasus make it also easier to get 5 on field this guy. But there should be, as long as you have 9 Crystal Beasts in the graveyard, you should have enough to summon a second. Now this doesn't matter, none of this matters because turn change, oh no, back to us. And this was all without actually using our Ash, our Cross Out, whatever. But if we did get interrupted, we also still had access to Awakening of the Crystal Ultimates to special summon either like a Pegasus or a Ruby to continue the combo. Alright, now that I've gone through like the basic combo and all the little traps inside of it, let's just watch it again, this time with starting with Bond and Bridge. Okay, actually, just kidding. This is with Pegasus and Bridge. Not that we got Ashed here. So, the thing is, if you get Ashed on Zenith, you're pretty much screwed. But if people Ash Bond, which is also a really good Ash target, just not the best, and still keep playing. This will show what happens when you don't have the Ruby to bounce back in hand to special summon with so usual. But overall, so far the same thing. One Pegasus gets you to Sargus. You don't have to go into Dugaris here and save it for later if you want to have the option of specialing Ruby back, but here, since I have Bridge of the Heart, I know for a fact that I can pop this Ruby on field. That is a big thing though. If you don't have Bridge of the Heart here, you probably don't want to place Ruby. Probably don't want to go into Dugaris at all yet. You want to save it for later so you can be a little more flexible. Yeah, I didn't, not exactly sure what I was hoping to draw there, but as long as I had Bridge of the Heart, I was fine. Be able to pop Ruby and then activate Golden Roll. So again, there's a lot of different ways that you can go about this combo when you get interrupted, or depending on what you have in hand. There's not really like perfect way, it's really just however you can figure to get 9 Crystal Beasts in grave. Now we're just clearing up zones, getting stuff into the graveyard, making it so that we're able to summon Cherubini, since the zone was blocked last time. And now we have all the names in grave, so we can play the game. Cherubini can also be good for sending Crystal Master to grave, and then specialing him back with Celine. But yeah, I think again, we didn't use Awakening, so technically we still have more that we can do if we got interrupted again. Cross out in hand after the Saryuja draws. It's actually crazy how consistent Saryuja is any deck. Skip their turn, and 11,000 damage. Alright, so this is the deck list that I run with, like you saw in the beginning of the video. I know sometimes crossout seems like a bait because you have to run like all of these cards that are like somewhat useless in some situations. But I genuinely think that with Saryuja, it makes drawing them like not an issue if you don't end up using them, and they're so helpful in the situations that they do come in handy. And having the option of cross-outing any card is also great. But yeah, the hand traps, I guess, could be up to your discretion, whatever you want. As for the Crystal Beast that I'm running, I have one of every name of the normal names other than Tortoise, who we're running a Advanced Ruby instead. Like I said, it's just a lot easier to get into the grave, which is very important for this version of the deck. Free Pegasus, obviously. And then the Spriggans package. These technically could be any 2 Spriggans. Like, you could have 2 Rocky here if you want. The Teller Knight card. If you have Bridge of the Heart, this could be your normal summons, that you add this to hand without having to go into this guy and get him on the field and worry about shuffling him back in. But otherwise, you pretty much always just want to shuffle this back with Saryuja if you draw it. 2 Zenith, 2 Rainbow Dragon, 3 Crystal Master. But yeah, when it comes to Crystal Beast spells and traps, you basically just run 3 of all of them because they're crazy. I'm only running 2 Awakening because it's probably the most cuttable card. 51 was just too many, you know? But the Teller Knight spell isn't exactly a brick, because if you just draw it, then you don't have to worry about going into this guy at all, though sometimes it is nice to use him to free up your zones. Especially if you go into him before you go into Zelantis, then you can use like 3 level 4s, and then Zelantis effect will detach all of them and put them in the graveyard anyway. Because if you otherwise use 3 materials, then you'll have too many stuck behind him to have enough to special summon back. Extract is unfortunately really tight. There's really not anything that I would recommend cutting. For the flexibility of the combo, I think you need Dugaris, I think you need Cherubini. You definitely need these 2. Celine helps a surprising amount. This is just great for linking away any materials that you have on field to clear up zones. Guska, a great plan B for if you get stopped in a weird spot. These cards are obviously necessary, and then Zeus for sometimes you'll get impermed on Sargass while going second, and then you could just swing to something and have a 4 material Zeus. So I don't know, it's pretty tight. There's some cards that I wish I could fit into the extra deck, but I think that this is your best bet. Hopefully that was helpful. If you want more examples of the Crystal Beast combo in general, you should go check out Dread Guy. He's been posting a lot of Master Rank Crystal Beast content, and the combo is honestly almost exactly the same. But hopefully this was a good enough example of how to run this degenerate deck. If you just hate interacting with your opponent and you don't want them to play the game at all, then this is perfect. This is also the deck that I use to get into Master. I will also say that you should definitely take this deck into like solo mode and just practice on your own for a little bit, because it will take up at a minimum half of the end game timer. So there's been plenty of games that I've had where I've had like single digit numbers as I'm ending my turn. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video because I thought it was really funny that Crystal Beasts of all decks have a skip your turn, insta-win, end the game, borderline unstoppable deck going first. It's one of my favorite decks, so to see them have something so like overwhelmingly powerful was pretty cool. Hopefully you guys enjoyed too, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.